Welcome to the LaLanne Pass It On podcast. My name is Greg Justice. I'm here with the real star of the show, Elaine LaLanne. Elaine, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm tolerable, though I'm doing great. And I'm so excited. Tell us about Kathy first, and then I want to tell a story about Kathy.
Absolutely. Well, our special guest today has stood at the forefront of the fitness and wellness industries since the 1970s. And with her highly acclaimed podcast and all-in-one workout app, she remains at the cutting edge of a business that she helped pioneer. The Kathy Smith empire boasts over $500 million in sales, with a collection of New York Times best-selling books, videos, lifestyle products, and fitness equipment. Her company's mission is to help you care for your body, from the products they make to the conversations they inspire. It's about total well-being, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, which embodies what this podcast is all about. It is an honor to welcome to the show, Kathy Smith.
Thank you. Oh, that was so sweet. I love that introduction. Thank you, Greg. That was very kind.
Well, we are thrilled to have you on the show today. And like
And
I said,
Elaine, I'm so excited to be here with you.
exactly. I just want to sit back and reminisce with you two and hear stories.
I know every time Kathy and I see each other, oh! But anyway, it's the first time I met Kathy, you came to the house. Remember, Kathy?
Of course.
And I don't know who brought you, but you were going to have a workout with Jack. So will you tell us about the workout with Jack?
Well, it started, and we'll have to piece the story together with I want to hear your input also. But I was thinking it was either I did a 5-part series for the History Channel, and it was a biography. It could have been that show, because I think we did a piece on Jack on that. But I was also, part of the Alive and Well show, and the Alive and Well show, was on US.
On your show.
What?
I was on your show.
Oh, yeah. So you were on it also, yes. But I think that might have been, but it could have been for biography. But I just remember coming to the house, so excited to meet somebody who I've looked up to, both of you. But as Jack goes, I've looked up, he's been a mentor from afar. He's been an inspiration to us all. But anybody who stepped foot in the fitness industry knew what Jack had pioneered. So I get to go to his house and I get to meet you. And the two of you are just the cutest couple, by the way. I mean, it was so sweet to see the two of you together. But I remember when I got there, Jack was in the pool and he was strapped up to a bungee cord, and he was swimming. And I asked you, what is he doing? And he was swimming laps. And I think he was training for something, but he wasn't actually swimming laps.
I think he was training for his birthday swim.
I think you're right, because I followed his birthday swims around, Alcatraz, all the different ones, and pulling boats and cars or whatever. But but he's there, and he's bungeed up. And then I just asked him about his routine, and you'll probably refresh my memory, but he would say he would get up in the morning, and again, he's attached to the side of the pool, and so he just keeps swimming, but he would do it for a couple hours every
yeah, he swim. And honey, and how he trained for some of those swims too. I used to go down to the ice house in La Brea and get a let's see, I don't know how pounds it was, but it was huge. And I would pour the ice on him. I have pictures of it. Pour the ice on him. He'd sit there for an hour just in the bathtub, getting ready for the cold water.
It's its original cryotherapy or Wim Hof cold plunging, which is so popular right now. I know. I mean, it's just like he would do, and he was such, I know we were talking about this before we jumped on, but another time that we all met up was at the Bel Air Hotel, and that was for something that Jake Steinfeld, Body by Jake, had put together to get some of the fitness celebrities at that.
We're going to have a restaurant.
Exactly. But what's so funny about this record, so think about it. It was Jack, of course. And then there was Richard Simmons. Jane Fonda was going to be part of the group, but she wasn't there. Tammy Lee Webb, myself. And I have to tell you, it was one of these things that when you watch Jack command a room and talk about his vision, but also he would not bend any rules that might impact your health. So
Yes, they were
talking about
talking about hamburgers and they were talking about having this food
French fries,
and he would not,
he said,
about the bend.
that's not the type, that's not what we're going to be promoting. So that was and it was like there, there's the making money side and creating a restaurant that has mass appeal, and then it's what's really healthy for you. And I saw him just go through the checklist, and it was it was such a pleasure to see somebody who had started so early. I mean, I was watching him when I was a wee thing, and just loved the way he stood, loved his posture, loved his little unitard. I love the story about his outfits too, and how, he made those outfits because there's nothing.
Yes, the Oakland Pants Factory. And there's a story, there's a book that's written by it's called After the Fall. It was a bestseller. And in the book, it starts out with the with Jack swimming, and it's a fiction book, but in there it tells about it. But I asked the his name is Noah Hawley, and I asked him, how did you know about the Oakland Pants Factory? He says, well, he says, I just found out, that's about it. But that's where he had them, the Oakland Pants Factory. We had those outfits made.
And I heard, but they were like wool, or they were heavy, correct?
Yeah, they were wool. See, they didn't have that stretching stuff.
No spandex, no
No,
lycra,
no
right?
spandex in those days. And the only thing that would stretch would be the wool. And so, and then of course you could see he could sweat a little bit under when he lifted his arms. But I said, oh, we got to do something about that. So,
How many of those
through
wool
in
suits?
early television, it's amazing.
Oh my God. And how many of those wool suits did he have? Did he have
He's had about 5, 6, maybe. Yeah.
yeah.
And we did have, and then when spandex came in, we got some spandex, So
Did Gilda Marks ever make anything for you guys?
yes, Gilda Marks. We did a lot with Gilda Marks. Yes.
Yeah. I love Gilda. I love her flexitards, and
I did too. And
in there, by the way, little fact here, I was her hang tag model. So when I moved to LA in 1995-ish, I moved into a guest house on the beach in Santa Monica, and Gilda Marks lived next door. I was about 25-ish, I guess, at the time.
really?
And so I'd be running on the beach because I had just run a marathon in Hawaii, and I was running on the beach, and Gilda saw me, and she, and then she told me about what she was doing at Body Design by Gilda. And we just had we've had a strong connection ever since.
Oh yeah, see her, and I still have some of her warmers, her warmers,
leg warmers. Yeah. Or yeah. And yeah, I know we'll have to do one of those back to the 80s, flashback type of shots one day, where we all pull out 1980s, 1970s, 1980s.
You know what, Greg? I can get some socks out, and we could take a picture of them and send them to you. And then I can also send you a picture, and you can put this in the podcast.
I've been taking
Jack swimming.
I've been taking notes, and I know what to overlay in this conversation. In fact, I spent some time with Gilda a few years ago in Chicago at one of the National Fitness Hall of Fame events when she was inducted. And so that was bringing back memories as you were talking. And I was taking notes of where to put some of the overlays in on the podcast. So I look forward to that. Yes.
Oh gosh. Well, Kathy, so now what are you doing these days? I mean, are you you're still
busy? Yeah. I think, it's actually, as careers, go through their stages. This has become a stage where, again, I turned 73 this year. And by the way, you're my inspiration of how to live.
You're just a baby, honey.
I
Because
know I'm a baby. Every time I
73,
go, people,
I was going strong.
I know every time I think about age, I go, yeah, but Elaine, Elaine, she's amazing. So anyway, but I have always loved putting fitness and technology together. So my first exercise product was an exercise album. And you put the turn on the turnstile, and then you would put the poster on the wall, and then came the VHSs, and then the DVDs, and then the CD-ROMs, and then eventually it was interactive, and now I have apps, and on and on and on. But part of it is, how do we start to engage our consumer, especially people that are now maybe not leaving the house quite as much. And I'm now working on this program where 12 people are in a Zoom call together. All the mics are open. The instructor is leading the class, but there's more than just fitness. There's the mental, there's the memory side of it. So for instance, during the class, you'll be marching, and we'll be marching, and then we'll go into a side lunge. And I'll say, Elaine, I'm going to give you 3 words. Keep marching. And then 5 minutes later, I come back and say, Elaine, what are those 3 words? And then we build up to where there's eventually 10 words. And so, and then you don't know. And now I'll go, Greg, okay, we're on number 7. Let's hear it. We're doing squat jump. We're doing side to side. And it's for any level, and especially bringing families together. So we're trying to get intergenerational. So it's the great grandmother in the 90s. It's the grandmother. So that, your age, my age, my daughter's age, and her son's age type of thing, or maybe not her son's, but a teenager, and getting everybody together in one class so that people across the country can now maybe work out with their families once a week, share stories, but also see this progress and see how, as a 90-year-old for you, as a 70-year-old for me, how things like balance, memory, all the things that we know get impacted with aging. All of this can be trained in a class now. So, I'm doing it, but it's, as you know, with AI, technology is just changing the world of how where we meet people. And I'm very much into it. And so I'm taking classes all around the country. I'm developing new products. And so I'm writing a new book. So that's
great. And what are you going to do for the people over 100? Because I'm a year and a half from 100.
For the people over 100, we fly in special and give you a special class, so that we can have a one-on-one class with you, because that's such an honor. I mean, my gosh, tell me, how does it feel? How does it feel to be 90?
98 and some.
How does it feel? I know I've talked to you, and
well,
it feels good. You look good.
Look, I have a very strong core, and I could do 20 jackknives like nothing, Greg knows, because I've done them before for him. But I have this very strong core, but I have macular degeneration, and I have a bone-on-bone leg that I should have had done when I was too busy writing books and to get this fixed. And so I do have a bad leg. But other than that, I'm feeling like a teenager inside. When I die, I'll be wiggling on the inside and dead on the outside.
Yeah, well, let me jump in there, because Elaine, you said something recently in another one of our conversations, and I think, Kathy, you will appreciate this, because I think you are made just like this. Is, Elaine, do you remember what you said about always waking up every day with something to do, a project?
Yeah, something
and
to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to. Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly,
Yeah.
who I am, and I relate to that. I have this insatiable curiosity about so much. And so I love learning new things, but I also, to your point, I also love projects. And I love having that, knowing that tomorrow, even with Paige, who works with me, I'll do the last thing we say as we, sign off for the day is, okay, what's on the agenda for tomorrow? And and for me, it's like, oh yeah, we're going to be doing that, new recipe book, or we're going to be working on this, or we're going to be doing graphics, or I have to go, whatever it might be. I then know I'm getting I have to tell you the big thing I'm doing though, but to your point, projects are important, and being curious and learning. I mean, I can't believe when people think like learning stops when you get out of college or high school or whatever. I mean, this lifelong learning makes life so much fun.
And that's what I say in all my people ask me all these questions about how do you live to be 100? I mean, well, 99 or 98. Um, I said always have a project, always have a project, never stop learning. You were saying just the same things that I've been saying too. Of course, Kathy and I have always been on the same level. Every time we see each other, we don't have to say anything. We don't have to see each other. We just know. Isn't that right, Kathy?
That's so true. It's so true. It's like connected. There's just
Yeah, we've always had a connection sometimes. When she'd be at these conventions and I'd be at the convention, I'd say, Kathy's here. I gotta look her up, so.
we go find each other. I know. I go find you and you'd be in the booth, or you'd be doing push-ups on stage. And so it's like, damn, she's so good. So that was fun. But here, this is the crazy thing. And some people think it's crazy. I think it's wonderful. I love to hike. I love the outdoors and I love to hike. So there's a challenge. It's called the 29029 challenge. Those numbers, 29029, that's the height of Mount Everest. So they do this on 6 different mountains where you climb to the top and then you take a chairlift down. Now, I live in ski country. I live in Park City, Utah. So this is convenient for me, but actually the challenge is in Whistler, Canada, and it's in August. And I've been on a 4-month training program for it because it's 30 miles and about 30,000 vertical feet. And that in itself, and another thing that I will say with aging, and is to find every once in a while, it doesn't have to be crazy like this, but to find some sort of goal, something you want to achieve. It could be, more travel, but in general, it's something that maybe you've always wanted to do, but you've put it off. And then just break it down into doable steps. Like I have a 4-month program, and each day it's about consistency. And it reminds me a little bit of what Jack used to talk about. Like when you go and he's going to go for a swim, he just doesn't get up one day and do that. He trains for it. But instead of just being in a pool, just swimming, when you're training for something, it has just brought me such joy in my life right now because I'm training with other people. I have a kind of a purpose to my training. So that's been fun. And that's in August, and it's in Whistler.
Oh, great. Jack always said, it is, working out and exercise and nutrition, it's like training for life. You've got to train for life. And that's what you're doing. You're training for a long life. And I think that's probably what I've done. And Greg, I know, wait, you know what Greg does?
What does Greg do?
He goes from tell us a ninja.
It's the American Ninja Warrior training. I always like to say that I don't like to swim, but I like to fly.
Yeah.
So you do the ninja training?
I
Oh,
do the ninja
Greg.
training. And I started when I was 60, and now here I am in my mid 60s now, and progressively getting better each year. So you'll see me on that show pretty soon.
I love watching that show. So tell me, what's your best event and what's your worst event?
I love to fly. I love to do laches and flying off of big pendulums for 12 to 14 feet and
Wow.
and hopefully making the catch. Otherwise, you fall.
I know.
Um,
And then
But-
which one, and then which one is you not like? Or is you're not,
I will say the ones that are challenging, and one thing I got to tell you about the sport of ninja training is if you think about exercise and longevity, you think about grip strength and longevity. There's
Mhm.
correlation between grip strength and longevity. All the research shows that, and then balance and longevity. And that sport is nothing but grip strength and balance. And I will say the balance obstacles are very challenging. But again, because there's a purpose to them, and I know it's good for longevity, it makes it more fun. But the balance are the obstacles are the ones that I like the least because they're the most challenging for me, but I do them because of that.
And do you call the balance when you have to run around across those spinning tubes and get to the other side, like
Yeah, there are tubes and there are, I mean, there are ropes.
try to look him up
Yeah.
his,
Yeah,
it's
it's
AYC, what is it?
well, it's just
How do-
AYC
how
is an
can we
acronym,
see you
but
do it?
yeah, there's a lot of different. I'm on YouTube channels and I do a lot of posting on my social media. But
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, it's just
It's on your t-shirt. I see it on your
oh
t-shirt.
yeah, that's my company, the company name. But yeah, no, it's good because we have to find individually, we all find what we enjoy that motivates us to wake up with purpose in the morning. And I love just sitting back hearing each of your stories about what motivates you to get up in the morning to do something. And I think
Yeah.
it's wonderful. Let me change gears just a little bit, Kathy. You had mentioned it earlier. You're working on a new project, your book. Tell us about your new book.
Well, it's I started it and it's taken a little bit of a twist now. I'm using the 29029 challenge as the kind of the backdrop of the book because everything that I'm learning in this challenge is what I've been teaching throughout my entire career. And I think it just puts it in perspective for the next, for the next 20 or 30 years type of thing of how, when, and so it might be a simple thing like this. The first chapter is, are you crazy? And then I said, that's what people usually say when they ask why I'm doing it. But then I go back and say, and then I tell stories about when I ran my first marathon in Hawaii, and there were only, out of 800 participants, there are only 12 women. So in 1975, 3% of the field were women in the Hawaii Marathon. Women couldn't run the Boston Marathon at that point. So, things have changed when we started changing, Jack led the charge with so much of this. But as we got into this female fitness in the 70s and the 80s, and things started shifting around, and then Billie Jean King and Women's Sports Foundation, and really impacting Title IX, where girls had more access to sports in schools. I went to a high school in Illinois, and there was not one girls' sport. So when you opened up our yearbook, there was men's football, track, you name it, baseball, golf, whatever. And you would see my picture, but I was in the cheerleader section because the only thing that there was for women was cheerleading. So that was in 1969 when I graduated. And I just, so from so many years, it's been like, I've been going up against like, okay, I remember being with Kenneth Cooper, Dr. Cooper at the Aerobic Institute, but I remember being with him in Hawaii and him talking about this concept of aerobics and where it was just now being studied. And it's really actually good for you because when I went to my doctor, again in 1973, he goes, you should not run marathons because you won't be able to get pregnant. And, all the stuff that we've heard, but
I know.
I've lived through it. So the same thing's happening with aging. And meaning limitations. People start putting limitations. Oh my God. And I'm like, I don't tell, when I walk in rooms and, sometimes people know who I am, sometimes they don't, but whatever. And I just hear conversations and somebody 52 will say, can't do that anymore. I mean, I'm too old for that, type of thing. And, I can't dance anymore because, that's for young people, or I can't do this anymore. And it's all the I can't. And through the years, and I imagine, Elaine, you must just even feel this even more so because I'm only 72 right now. And literally the can'ts of what people say they shouldn't, can't, won't. And
Yeah.
thinking, life starts to close
Yeah.
down, and it's what Jack said.
Negative.
Go
Jack,
ahead.
Jack always said, in our house, we had no negatives. If anything was said negative, that's negative. We don't talk about negative. That's one thing that Jack just, it went across his grain. It just, he could not take anything negative. It's negative. He wanted to, and if we go to a restaurant, if the waiter wasn't smiling, he'd say, "Hey, smile," I mean, he just was, he wanted to be positive, and that's the way I am, and that's the way you are, and that's the way everybody should be. And this today, so many people are not positive. They don't think, they think negative. They think, oh, I can't, I won't. I used to do a lecture on excuses, and that was one of my favorite lectures. I used to give all the excuses that people used to use.
Oh, I know. The list is long. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's
you know what, I can, I won't. You can't. There's no way you can do anything if you say I can't. If you say well, I guess I'm going to do that. I will, I can, I will, I'm going to. So
well, you just are summarizing, kind of this first part of this, the first chapter of the book, and like don't say. I even said, do I know I'm going to make it to the top? I don't know, but that's not going to eliminate the fun, the training, the connection, the community that I have right now. And so that is just going to be the bonus at the top, with maybe a good view when I get there. But in general, it's really about all the other things. And then the next chapter is going to be, okay, where are we going to start? And then, I go into a whole thing on feet, your foundation. People, as they go through life, we think about this and we think about abs. But as we know, your feet are the foundation. And if your feet aren't working, and that's, and are we doing exercises for our feet? And so I'm weaving that into it. Then, the type of training you do for something like this.
Speaking about the feet, I do that every day. I have these bowls, and you'd be surprised how, if you maneuver and exercise and on your bottoms of your feet, it's amazing how great you're going to feel too.
Oh, I love that you do feet exercises. Now, did somebody give you some that you, physical
Oh, I
therapist?
have this thing. It's wood, and it's got all these rollers on it.
Oh,
And
that
I
feels
roll
so
my
good.
foot on
Yeah.
it all the time, and it's really helpful. It really helps my leg too. So it's there's so many things that we can talk about. Oh my goodness sakes, we could go on forever.
Well, do
How,
you
how long is this show?
Oh, I
Could we,
want to know
Hey,
could
long
we
as
do
you
a,
guys-
could we do a
Hey,
5-hour show?
however long you two decide. Hey, do you do barefoot training? Is that what you're talking about? I know there's more and more talk about that kind of training these days.
You're talking to me.
No, Kathy.
Oh, I thought you were talking to Elaine. Okay,
No,
no,
I
so-
apologize. Yeah.
no. Well, some barefoot training. I don't go running barefoot or anything, but no, in the gym, I always do. Yes, I always,
Okay.
our feet are locked into these shoes, and
Exactly.
they don't have the mobility and the pliability. And
Mhm.
so get them out of the shoes and to do some of the things that Elaine was talking about. But it's everything from toe raises to splaying your toes to the little trick of, like, if somebody's right now looking down at your toes, and then try to press your big toe into the ground
I
and
do that. I
and
do
lift
that.
and lift your 4 other toes.
You'd
Yeah.
be surprised how that helps.
Oh my God, it's amazing. And then you press the 4 toes, and then you go right. You're thinking, why can I do this on my right foot, but I can't do it on my left foot? And so it's all of these imbalances in our bodies, but those simple things of, like, making sure that your weight is distributed. So for me, like, up and down, back and forth, in and out, and you find your center. And then, then you move up. Now we're going to go into, other areas, including pelvic floor and core. I'm doing a
Yeah,
lot of work
I
with
think
good work with posture right now. And then a new one, and I'll just give you this little trick if you're at home. Because people, it's I interviewed Katie Bauman for this, and she's just a posture nut. But think about everybody always says pull up like you're pulling up like a string, but instead of that, you go to a wall and you push your head as if I'm pushing it back in the wall. So this will be my wall right here. I'm pushing my head back, and then my eyes go down just slightly, just get my eyes down. And then I think about, really just lifting and lifting that. Now I lift that string up right there with my head back. And now what I do, I hold it there, and then I do the chicken peck. So I imagine I'm a chicken and I'm going to get pieces of corn off the ground. So I'm going boop, boop, boop. And every single, ooh, I just got something right there. Every single tight thing in your neck starts to like release. And then, I mean, that's just one of the things, but I love posture. I love, especially for females, Elaine, and for everybody, but this part of our back, eventually, this thing that starts to happen. And so that is huge. And I see my girlfriends in their late 40s already starting with that bow, that really banana shaping, not radical, but you see it at the top. But the problem is, and that goes into the tech neck.
Right.
So anyway, I mean, the whole book is about,
I love that. I love what you're doing. I think a lot of people don't think about things like that. And I do all the time.
I
I want to say that, Jack always said, your mind is a mine. It's full of diamonds, and all you have to do is dig them up. And you're digging them up.
Oh, that's good. I like that, Elaine.
Yeah. So
just pick up the diamond.
That's right. Well, is that going to be a part of your app with some of the programming, the posture, the foot training, things
Yeah, we're working in that direction of getting more of the training that, because in general, the bicep curls, the push-ups, I mean, we're doing all this still, but
we forget
what
about
happens if you're not doing things in alignment. And as we get older, I mean, you can kind of get away with it when you're younger, you can get away with so much when you're younger.
Yes.
And when you get older, you're doing your push-up, when you're doing, squats and all these other things. If you're not doing them, if you don't have the posture, and usually we talk about posture and we talk about core, and of course, core is so important, but some things haven't been talked about that much that are really impacting a lot of 50s, 60s, 70s, and all the way up. And it's these kind of things. And honestly, it's what's keeping me in the game. I mean, I literally do all the other things, but this underlying, it's like the chassis of a car. It's like the chassis of a car, and, there's certain things, it doesn't matter how fast, you can go so much faster and you'll be stronger if you have a strong chassis, right? And good tires. So it's like building that car for everything else we want to do. And sometimes we forget about the building part and just go into, the more aggressive stuff. And then we end up getting injured, or it just isn't fun, or that sort of thing.
And stretching I find that the older I get, the more I need to stretch.
Oh, yes.
I'm always stretching. You have 55 muscles in your face. I'm always going, and I'm going like this, and I'm going like that, and I'm going, and then I have these, I have put this under my eye, you just lightly touch your bone here, and you open and close your eyes, and lightly touch above, open and close your eyes, and lightly touch the sides and open and close your eyes. You can feel those muscles working right under here and here.
Well, look at, I love, and I do the same thing, except there's one more, which I think of these as your dumbbells, right? Now it's for your cheeks, and everybody so now for here, like this is a muscle. And so you light pressure, it's your face. You don't want to but light pressure. And now.
Yeah.
And so this going up and down, so, so you do 10 reps of that, and then you do this one where you go, and anyway, it's going through, we get all these muscles in our face, and, just wake them up. And, I get up in the morning and I do those kind of things, and you're not going to believe this. And this is probably, I don't know if this is, I'm not passing this on for anybody to do it, but I have a whole body vibration plate at home. And so I put my elbows on the plate. Let's pretend this plate, and then I'll do my little thing. So now I have the vibration going in my face, and I'm going. So I know.
That's great.
Yes. I use
Oh,
my
I got all
vibration
sorts of
plate every day.
I
It's
do too.
wonderful. But you
Which
know,
is-
this all reminds me of the Jack LaLanne Faceotronics. Do you remember the whole, Jack did a whole exercise?
Yeah, we have
program
the
called
Faceotronics.
Faceotronics, yeah.
Oh,
Right.
really?
Yeah,
Yes.
we have an exercise
Exercises for
program
the
for the
face.
face. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So in my, I wrote a book on exercises. I start at the top of the head, the mind, then I go in the eyes, and then I go down to the neck, and then I go. And years ago, I for one of the I forget which Plume or one of those publishers, I wrote this book for Fitness After 50 workout, and it's one of my favorite ones because I I can never remember to do everything, so I said, oh, I'll start up here and then I'll go all the way down to my toes and lifting marbles with my toes, you know.
Oh, I used to do that. That's a good, I'm gonna start doing that. That's a great one.
Yeah,
I lift the marble and then you pick it up and then you put it in a cup. You
yeah.
lift it up and then you put it in a cup. The marble drop, we called it. Hey, guys,
We could
I-
go on and on.
oh, I know. We go. Now, I do have somebody coming over here shortly, so I don't know. Do we want to jump in? Are we going to talk about the event at all or not?
Absolutely. We'll shift gears and talk about the Jack LaLanne Jumping Jack Challenge, which you can come to live at the Los Angeles Convention Center on Friday, July 12th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. But we're also going to be streaming it live all around the world on the Jack LaLanne Facebook page. And so wherever you are in the world, you'll be able to join us and break a world record, which is currently 2,251 people simultaneously doing jumping jacks. We're shooting for over 100,000 people. We're not just going to break a record. We are going to smash this world record. So it may never be.
Damn.
We've got the YMCA's behind us and some of the military too.
Yes.
And we're gonna have it's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. Hey,
Well, I'm gonna try to make it to the convention center. I'm gonna keep
Okay.
you updated with that.
Yeah.
And then if we join with the Facebook group, I mean, how long is the just so I can tell people, is it going to take them 15 minutes or 5 minutes or?
yeah, if you think about the nature of a jumping jack, a repetition is usually 1 second or less, right? So when you think about doing 98 jumping jacks, you can do 1 or 98.
Okay, so it's 98. I missed that part. So we're doing
Yes, and that's
98.
in honor of
The
our.
reason 98, and I said that's too many, but it's because I'm 98 years old.
There you go. See, she's practicing already. She's practicing already.
I like to
Hey,
practice. I got to
hey,
practice
Kathy,
it.
tell us where people can learn more about you and all the amazing things that you're doing.
Just go to kathysmith.com. And that's the easiest place. All my Instagram's Kathy Smith Fitness. But if you go to kathysmith.com, there's buttons for podcasts and Instagram and everything else we've talked about, books, products. I have a free 2-week program that people can sign up for where they get they get a fitness video every single day to just jumpstart their program for summer, or if they're in a little bit of a slump. And it's all on my website, kathysmith.com.
Well, thank
great.
you, Kathy, so much for joining us today. We sincerely appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, it's always so much fun to see both of you. And
Yeah.
I adore you. I adore both of you. I adore this lovely woman. And we'll be, I'll keep you posted if I can join you in LA.